A week ago, some of our dreams were coming true, and then quickly things became a bit of a nightmare. But then the Arizona Cardinals, they redeemed themselves, and we're on to the next wave of free agency, Johnny Venerable.
Yeah, speaking of nightmare, are the Cardinals really not going to update their offense before the draft? Plus, where do things stand with cornerback Asante Samuel Jr.? Is he going to be an Arizona Cardinal or not? PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Brack in Studio K. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic. We're living large here, a week removed from the first wave of free agency. Cardinals still very much active. Be active in the chat. Like and subscribe. Well on our way here on PHNX Sports to 40,000 subscribers. You guys helped us. We got the numbers this morning. Make last week one of the biggest in company history. So we appreciate all of you last week and moving forward. For those who are new, welcome. For those who have been here, also welcome, Brack.
It's lovely. What's going on to the chat? How we doing? And I've got my green on here for St. Patrick's Day. And then if you'll notice, probably the most poor attempt at celebrating St. Patty's Day in their green is my co-host Johnny. But Damon just revealed he's got a solid green t-shirt on. But Johnny's going to be the St. Patty's Day Grinch, Scrooge, whichever one you want to recognize.
Scrooge Venerable.
Yeah, Scroogey Venerable. Here on March 17th, 2025.
Everyone pinch John.
You know what? I had
like for a pinch.
I was excited about dressing up for St. Patrick's Day, and then I saw a cryptic Victor Dimukeje tweet, and I'm like, enough of this. Time to get serious. Time to get down to brass tacks. It's time to stop celebrating these holidays because, you know, I get concerned about the state of the Cardinals pass rush group. We're going to get to that later in the show. Is Victor Dimukeje coming back to the Cardinals? Is he leaving? You'll have to wait and see.
Whoa. What a saga. What an absolute just true saga. You just knocked the wind out of me there. Just the sheer thought of Victor Dimukeje not being able to play like 21% of the defensive
snaps. We know what it would mean to you on lunch dates at the facility with Victor and Dennis and Jesse. All those guys are gone. Who's Bo gonna eat lunch with? Damon at the facility.
Hey, it's Vic the Brick. It's Gardecki.
That group chat, I'd pay anything to see the eyes on that group chat right now. Bo would never show us, but the Aquara, Gardeck, Dimukeje.
Me and Jules?
Yeah.
Jules Aquara? I mean, come on, man.
Bo tries to eat with Josh Sweat. He's like, man, get the hell out of here. Alvin Tomlinson just throws Bo to the ground. That's what I'm here for. Let's go.
Victor Dimukeje. That's why I felt blindsided by it. He couldn't just drop us a little nugget in the group text that, hey, it might be, my time might be done. Yeah, look at that.
Scrooge. Please never mention Julia Okoro on this chat ever again, by the way. I'm not dealing with that kind of fresh hell. Let's get started atop today's show. So full transparency, I initially had Azeez Ojulari on the thumbnail today, but pour one out for the free agent who was available until he wasn't. He signs with Philadelphia Eagles $4 million deal. Why I think that is interesting to bring up. So I had somebody kind of in the know drop me a line. It's no inside information, but just kind of a perspective, a week removed from Josh Sweat. That what is everybody doing with Vic Fangio this morning? Slobberfest. Azeez Ojulari, he's going to be great, and he might be good for them. Who knows? I see people, I love our friends at PHLY. It's like he could eclipse Josh Sweat. Blah, blah, blah. Have we ever just thought to say maybe Josh Sweat was not a great fit traditionally as a sack artist for Vic Fangio? Have we all have any of us thought of that? Let's channel ourselves back the last several years. Well, he had Vic Fangio this year, and he had 8 sacks. Could have been Super Bowl MVP. Got himself a nice contract. A year before that, he had a defensive coordinator who was promptly fired during the year. It was a disaster. Remember, they couldn't get anybody to take that job after Gannon stole Nick Rallis, and they they appoint their secondary coach.
On the side, right? Wasn't he the guy for a little bit, and then he got replaced? They had him like he was a consultant or whatever. He was still on staff. He had to still clock in and out and show up on game days, but he was one of those guys that was relegated to the back of the.
He was on Big Dom's level.
Exactly.
He and Big Dom had the same pay grade at that point. Well, and then the year before that, he had Jonathan Gannon. He had 11 sacks. Where would Josh Sweat be the last 2 years if Jonathan Gannon remained as defensive coordinator? I think he would have been right around the same amount of sacks he had, if not better. And I think that you look today and it's like Azeez Ojulari and Josh Sweat are very different players. And I was banging the drum at the trade deadline. Go get Azeez Ojulari. Maybe Azeez Ojulari wasn't a good fit. Well, if he's a good fit for Vic Fangio, maybe that means Josh Sweat was not a traditional fit. I think you can put all that together and say, I think we're underestimating Josh Sweat and his ability to rush quarterback for Gannon as opposed to Vic Fangio. That's what I took away from that today.
Yeah, I mean, his best game under Vic Fangio, and this was Josh Sweat giving some insight into the defensive game plan, was just get after Mahomes. That was the plan. Just rush the passer, do it as best as you can, go get him. Vic Fangio just rolling the football out and slapping his guys on the behind and saying, go get him.
Yep.
Get after the quarterback. It's a little disappointing that we're not going to, at least for one more season, not get to see the pass rushing Ojulari brothers together. But, maybe that's something we can table. But yeah, it is a little bit disgusting, but it's coming out of Philadelphia, and that they're like, oh, just wait till Vic gets his hands on him. He's the magic man.
Yeah.
Anything he touches. Well, I mean, it didn't work in Miami. I mean, it works when you have elite talent. When you have Jalen Carter, things are a little just. That's what they should be saying. Wait till you see Azeez Ojulari play next to Jalen Carter, because he makes a lot of guys look really good at football. So, yeah, you're gonna get that, and we have to wear it a little bit just because Philly, they're the ones that have the Lombardi Trophy and they're going to be the reigning champions. But clearly the Arizona Cardinals just didn't like the fit with Azeez Ojulari. It's now they preferred Baron Browning over Ojulari and having to give up, similar draft capital, maybe a little bit more to get him at the deadline. And then everybody had their chance to get Azeez Ojulari, and that number wasn't unattainable for the Cardinals. They just said, we prefer Baron Browning still over you. We prefer Josh Sweat. So people saying hey, Josh Sweat, maybe Ojulari could, give us more and then some from an Eagles standpoint. It's a bit foolish.
Yeah.
A bit foolish.
Josh Sweat, by the way, under Jonathan Gannon, there were only 3 games in 2022. Sweat didn't have a quarterback hit. Most games he had 2 to 3. And then here's a trajectory that I think Gannon and Sweat were robbed of together. I mean, you don't think this impacted his signing? So Sweat, through the first 8 games of 2022 with JG, 1.5 sacks, okay? The final 9 through week 16, he had almost 10 sacks combined. So clearly they figured something out. The two of them, they got on the same page, and then they rolled that all the way to the Super Bowl, albeit with Hassan Reddick. The strength of that defense, by the way, was not the defensive tackle play. They didn't have Jalen Carter yet. Fletcher Cox was old. Now, they did have Hargraves, but he was approaching 30. It was their edge rush group. And so I feel like maybe and you and I have been pretty consistent, hopefully maybe he can get to double-digit sacks. I think I've been grossly underestimating his ability to do that under JG. I think Fangio, they just weren't a good fit. Clearly, they're signing Azeez Ojulari here on week 2 of free agency.
I mean, Sweat led the Eagles with 8 sacks last year.
Right.
They didn't have guys with robust stat numbers. They had, a nice group of guys that elevated the entire, the total number. But it was by committee. Like Bryce Huff was an unmitigated disaster for the Philadelphia Eagles. So to say like Bryce Huff coming in from the Jets, who had 10.5 sacks in a limited role, and then Azeez Ojulari, who had 6 in a pretty decent role for the Giants, like to just kind of like overlook that, that's pretty Philadelphia.
Fit's a big part of this whole thing. Do the Cardinals see a fit for Asante Samuel Jr. as a top cornerback in the rotation? We've reported for the better part of a week they wanted to add a veteran. They will add a veteran at some point. Now, will that be Asante Samuel Jr.? I'm told his visit went well, but no contract right now. Also, though, based on reports, hasn't taken another visit. Now, you can kind of connect the tea leaves, connect the dots there, if you will. Like maybe because he hasn't taken another visit, he's trying to get something done with the Arizona Cardinals. You make it to week 2, though, as we just mentioned, Bo. Azeez Ojulari signing a 1-year deal for $4 million. We all thought before his injury he was going to cash in free agency. I mean, I think the window to sign 2, 3, certainly 4-year deals, that's done. So if you're Azeez Ojulari at this point, you're probably not happy with the offer or offers that you're getting. And I've been told the Cardinals have discussed a contract with him. It's up to him. I mean, this is what Steve Keim used to do really well in free agency when he was at the top of his game. Remember, he would give somebody a contract, and then they could hold on to it, and they'd go around, maybe take visits. I don't know if that's how Ossenfort does things. But I do think it's pretty telling that he took a visit, he left, no noise. If he takes another visit, maybe he'll compare. But my guess is he probably just is weighing his option right now with the Arizona Cardinals. But they had a good visit.
Maybe they didn't see the entire facility. Hopefully he did not.
Yeah.
And that didn't, make him run out of Tempe to the Sky Harbor Airport and fly away and never to come back. So it's when you see the first wave of free agency, right? It's obviously a lot of guys who were in the same draft class as Asante Samuel and Azeez Ojulari, right? And when they're beyond the first round, they played 4 years, and then there's like the 5th-year option decline guys, and there's red flags there, and then there's red flags around guys who just hit the market anyway. But then you include an injury like Ojulari in Asante Samuel Jr. It just murkies the waters as far as what kind of deal they can get. Because if you were looking at this through the first 3 seasons of Asante Samuel Jr.'s career, you would have thought, no doubt about this 2nd-round pick was going to get a good deal if the Chargers just didn't retain him on a nice extension. So I'm sure he's just really trying to figure out how he can maximize himself in free agency for, next season and beyond.
The Cardinals need healthy veteran cornerbacks. They don't need a project, right? They're in a different spot than when they took Garrett Williams out of Syracuse a couple of years ago and they could wait, right? Wasn't active until October, November as a rookie. Like, they need a guy that can come in with respect to Sean Murphy Bunting and play opposite Max Melton, to play with Garrett Williams underneath. And maybe they deemed, I don't know this for sure, maybe they deemed Asante Samuel not healthy, not ready. Maybe they said check back in a month. I do think it's pretty telling. I mean, he hasn't taken another visit yet. I mean, it's been out there that he's visited with the Cardinals. When did that come out? Friday? So maybe his visit, I think. Thursday? Yeah.
It was the day after Dalvin Tomlinson, because we were like, oh, Monti, so maybe feeling himself.
Yeah, maybe Friday, Saturday was the time frame, and now it's just we're kind of waiting and seeing. The Cardinals also, I mean, like, you have time now where you can slow play this. Why aren't they bringing in another cornerback? They could. They're going to sign a veteran. It's not an if, but when. Where's Rasul Douglas? Are they gonna look at the guy from Tennessee that was a top pick that was just cut yesterday? Like, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to sign Asante Samuel Jr. or they're going to bring in another cornerback for a visit, and they're going to continue to weigh their options. I would imagine we're going to get an answer here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it provides clarity, and that's where you want to be. Even though I don't think that the Cardinals, regardless if they don't get a deal done with a veteran defensive back, that it puts them in the first 2 rounds in striking distance of taking, one of these talented corners. I just don't think that that's in their
I hope
plans,
not.
especially with just such a talented defensive front seven draft. It's just a lot of people want to say Will Johnson or one of these guys. Was it Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame who played locally at Brophy, or obviously the big name corners, the kid out of Texas. I don't see that they want to continue to, like, they've got enough youth at that position. Now they want the experience, and they want to really put somebody in a position to kind of play opposite those other guys, Gary Williams and Max Melton. That's have seen it and been around the block a little bit and knows what to expect. And hopefully can, with a revamped front seven, take advantage of some balls that are going to be tipped, put up in the air, they can come down with.
Yeah. I feel like Asante Samuel would want to come and play here because of the fact that it's 4 hours away, not 4 hours, 6 hours away from where he played recently with the LA Chargers. It's 4.5 from San Diego. But again, like LA, yeah, 4.5 from San Diego, 6.5 from LA. But they don't play football.
He just doesn't have a team anymore.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. That throws me off.
They should still play in Qualcomm. So that's what is happening with Asante Samuel Jr. now. Drop a like on this video. But yeah, I think they're going to sign a cornerback this week. I'll shoot my shot. I think they're going to get one, because you can already see now today, like, these mid-tier deals are picking up a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Who else could the Cardinals target? What other free agents of note are available that fit the Cardinals' need? We're going to look at the best available. Plus, how much better are the Cardinals on paper now? We're going to look at the depth chart. That's coming up here on PHNX Cardinals. How much better on paper is your bank account with our friends at Bet365? Never ordinary. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. They've got 90 million users worldwide, and it's time for the biggest college basketball tournament of note. Again, basketball early payout offers right now. Win big with Bet365 payout offer. When your team goes up 20 points, which is possible in the tourney, you're getting an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections. You got to download the app today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you do so. Again, right now, new customers get the benefit 150 in bonus bets when you bet 5, win or lose. All you got to do, create the account, deposit 10, you're ready to win, baby. 21 years and older, physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
I love it so much. I also love my Spinato's Pizzeria, of course, #1 pizzeria in the Valley, and they're teamed up with the Phoenix Suns, the official pizza partner of the Phoenix Suns, and you can win pizza for a year. Check out Spinato'sPizzeria.com while you're there. Order some za for the fam, bring it home. They actually have it delivered there, but they're the one-stop shop to watch Suns games. They got the watch parties going on. They'll have the dancers there, the gorilla. Also, check out their horse contest, but they spell Pizza instead of HORSE. Check them out right now. You can win tickets to Suns games. You can feel the energy, cheer for your team, and win big. Don't miss out. Mark your calendars, Suns fans. Get all the info for the watch parties and the pizza basketball contest. Spinato'sPizzeria.com, official pizza of the Phoenix Suns.
Drop a like on this video. Suns going to be eating a lot of pizza second half of this year. Maybe not watching the postseason play. Eating pizza on their couch. What do you make of that situation, Bo?
Just hanging out at Spinato's, and there's KD sitting on the bar stool right near you, having some za. Hey, I would have looked good in this series. Like, yeah, you would have. Just didn't win enough games.
Enjoy these final few months of Kevin Durant as a Phoenix.
KD's heating up on social media, though. I mean,
went after our
people who are critical of how bad his team has performed down the stretch.
Hey, you guys look like you've quit. I don't know about that. And then he deletes his tweet. I sent you and Damon. He replied to a short from our guy Benjamin Garcia.
Yeah.
And Benjamin Garcia was like, yeah, KD, this team not playing very well. KD just went off with a bunch of emojis. I'm like, you're an embarrassment, bro. Get out of here. Go away. People complain about Kyler Murray. Kevin Durant is an embarrassment. Get him out of Phoenix now.
Haven't been good. But there are people that they will ride or die with KD. But that's why we're here talking football.
It's If you're riding with Kevin Durant, real quick, Damon, back me up on this. I got a question. How much you want to win ever? That guy's a big time loser. He's a huge loser.
It's over.
Yeah, it's
over
never
with
been more
with
over.
Kitty. But also the Suns are just in shambles. That contributes to it too. It's a circus.
Must be the coach that has won a championship. Must be fire another coach.
Right. Well, and then like Ishbia is like, well, I don't rebuild. It's like, I heard that. I've heard that before, my guy. Let me tell you how that ends.
I mean, you're right, because you don't have any draft picks left. So you're just not going to be good forever.
Okay. Jonathan saying, I'm so glad you said it, because PHNX Suns won't. They'll say it. Eric Rubio will say that Kevin Durant's a little bit of a problem. I feel like
it's like you did, where he said he's a huge loser.
Yeah, loser. Come on, Kev. It's like, but you got his 26-10. Must be good. Ooh. Must be good.
Still a goat.
Sorry. There's our 1 minute Suns rant here.
I
20
love
minutes into a Cardinal
Talking
podcast.
Suns.
I like it. Talking some Suns ball, some hoop.
This is a Cardinal town, baby. Did you see last week? Did you see the electricity around Dalvin Tomlinson? That guy will play his ass off. What other free agents could the Arizona Cardinals pursue? Let's take a look, Bo Brock. Best available by position of need. We're not going to throw QBs on here or anything. For the Cards, Damon, let's take a look. What do we got cooking up here? A little Keenan Allen in the slot. Of course, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs. Offensively, they've got some offensive linemen here. Cam Robinson, Jedrick Wills, Tevin Jenkins, and then Dalton Reisner and Brandon Sheriff. So, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Any of these players make sense to you, Bo?
Yeah, you're getting down to the bottom of the barrel, and I think it just have to make sense, dollar and cents wise, cap wise. I don't know if any of these receivers would work. Maybe an Amari Cooper on like a super discount, just because of his experience in the Cleveland system, and his last like really good season was, I think, when Drew Petzing and crew were still there. Tevin Jenkins has been tied to the Seahawks. Dalton Risner is such a curious case. Does the NFL just hate Dalton Risner? I tried to ask our guy Benjamin Albright, seemed to have some connections to Risner because he plays well every time he signs, but
yeah,
seems like he's always waiting around to get a job. Brandon Sheriff seems like he's going to retire. So the only guys I really think like you could make a case for a Coop, Wills, if it's just an extreme discount, and maybe a Risner. But like,
I like Wills.
Yeah,
I think Wills has a little bit of juice to him. Obviously, high draft pick. There's some talent there.
Mm-hmm.
Petzing connections. I think there are people I've heard some people say move him inside potentially. I think the Cardinals could use him, as a right tackle option. So I think Jedrick Wills is the best available on that list.
I do like him. I mean, obviously, you mentioned first round pick out of Bama. He was Tua's blind side protector at the right tackle spot, and then he wasn't healthy. So can you get this guy? Can you buy very low on this guy and just bring him in the camp, let him compete? And if you need him, somebody goes down, or if he outplays somebody. But like the guard position was a position that Johnny, you had it sourced, and it played out like with the reports that they were in on Will Fries, that they wanted to upgrade that spot. But I think once Trey Smith got franchised and kept by the Chiefs, and Fries gets a 5-year deal with the Vikings, they didn't view any of these guys as true upgrades to what they already had on the roster.
I do think, though, to your point, like I've not seen Isaiah Adams play 17 games. That doesn't mean he can't do it, right? They're projecting him. Plus, he's an older player. He's like 25, 26. He had a ton of ball before he even went to University of Illinois. So they're confident in him. And Evan Brown was good last year, serviceable. I think you need one more veteran on the interior just in case all hell breaks loose. Because Evan Brown can kick over to center if Yelda Froholt, God forbid, goes down. I don't trust John Gaines. I don't trust the guy they signed last week, the guard from the Chicago Bears disaster class. I would say that right now, if you can get if Jedrick Wills, you could kick him inside, outside. Remember, they have Beach. And we feel like they're going to draft a tackle. So like you have 4 tackles potentially, but no one's seen or heard from Jonah Williams since the Panther game. So I like the offensive line a lot on this team, led by Paris and Yelda, but I also know you can never have enough. and there's value out. Like Tevin Jenkins, I asked Mike Garofalo, like Tevin Jenkins just might not be a good guy right now. He might need a clean slate, rebuild his image, because there was talk that he like quit on the Chicago Bears. Tevin Jenkins, though, on a 1-year deal just to come in and be a backup, I wouldn't hate that. Come in and compete with Evan Brown, because these guys that are coming in right now, like there are no expectations. You want a job? You want a contract, right? Because there are only a select number of teams right now that have money to go out and like. So let's say a team offers $6 million, Cardinals can trump that with $8 million, right? With the amount of money that they still have. So I would go out of all those names. I would love to see Keenan Allen play for the Arizona Cardinals underneath, but I just feel like that would be a waste right now until I see this offense evolve. I think the offensive line, with the amount of pressure that you put under this offensive line to perform, I think they need another veteran.
Is anybody, though, that you have to feel the urgency to get on the roster before the draft? Because then you can just kind of take inventory and like, okay, well, we weren't able to add the depth we wanted, and let's just go see if we can get somebody post draft who didn't find his market never materialized because of certain red flags, but we feel confident like, hey, we can bring him in, and this is a position that we weren't able to kind of nail down free agency or the draft, like the first wave.
I mean, your right side of your offensive line right now is the starters are in unknown territory with Jonah Williams and Isaiah Adams. We're going to hope for the best, but you never know. I would say do yourself a favor, get an offensive lineman. Like the receiver room, I mean, between Greg Dortch hasn't signed his tender yet, but between Dortch and Zay Jones, your 3 and 4 receiver are making a combined $7 million, $6 million. I mean, it's not very much money. So I think you could be selective there, because I think receiver in particular, I mean, like your third receiver typically has to play special teams. I mean, Keenan Allen's not playing teams, right? He didn't play teams in Chicago. Amari Cooper's not playing teams. Go get another offensive lineman, because remember when they signed Evan Brown and some of these guys, it was a little bit later. They perused around a little bit. Elijah Moore, for sure. That, I mean,
I wouldn't mind that. I could get in on that.
That's a lot. Yeah, for sure.
But do these guys want to come here and play in an offense that they may not get featured in? Like that, Zay Jones, it's like...
At this point in free agency, none of these guys are getting featured in any offense.
That's a good... Well, I just mean, yeah. Keenan Allen's just looking for a job. Amari Cooper, they're old. Get a job, get a paycheck, come in and do your role. No, that makes sense. You don't have a bunch of bidders. You're probably talking about, for any of those guys, like what D-Hop just get paid. Did you guys see that contract?
Yeah, it wasn't much.
It was like up to $6 million. No one on that list we just saw is getting that much. I mean, probably...
D-Hop's next favorite catch of his career is going to be like his first catch in the season opener next year.
2 years from now, it'll be like Danny Himes to D-Hop in Indianapolis. That'll be his next favorite, losing 24-0 against his old Texans team. So, yeah, I mean, K2 saying our wide receiver room is crowded, but is it good? Like, I don't know if it's good. I think it's got players we know. It's like the linebacker room, pass rush room, like it was crowded last year, but how many of those guys could make an impact? I think they would like to have a veteran underneath that could help.
Yeah. They need Marvin Harrison Jr., though, to be like, yeah, there's not enough for this football to go around. We got Marv and we got Trey McBride. Like that needs to happen next year. Like, so like any year after this, it's just like, they don't need it. They've got Marv, they've got Trey. Like that needs to be in the Cardinals like near future. That Marvin Harrison Jr. takes a step. If you got anybody, it's a complimentary role. It's not, hey, this guy's he needs to be a big part of the target share. The target share needs to be Marv. It needs to be Trey.
And Michael Wilson deserves more targets after what we saw last year. His catch ratio was fantastic last year. And he didn't come on our show at the end of the year in studio and complain about more targets, but he also said, like, I had an expectation myself. I should have had 1,000 yards. He was convinced he was going to have 1,000 yards. It's probably more so protection Michael Wilson missed the finale. If Marv or Michael Wilson had to miss time, Cardinals would probably just go full blown like wing tee with all their tight ends and running backs. That's Pet's that would be his dream. Just let me get Tip and Higgy Bear and Trey Benson, all these guys on the field with James Conner, maybe a little bit of Scattaboo, and we'll just go wing tee heavy.
salivating thinking about that.
Injected.
That's the dream. That's the dream for old DP.
Let me ask you this: before over under one addition before the draft of note on offense, you think they get it?
Maybe on the offensive line. I don't think they want to kind of add anything. They like their playmakers, even though that's such a dicey considering the lack of consistency that we saw last year.
And they don't have enough picks. This receiver class is not good.
You can't add Stephon Diggs to this offense. It'd be just you'd be throwing a grenade into that locker room. Like you know who you need to feed in this offense going forward. You add another guy, and it's just like, sure, you have another playmaker, and you have the upside to that, but then you have to match it with what kind of a distraction that would be. I mean, would Stephon Diggs come in and just command Stephon Diggs, or would he come in and would he be able to teach Marv how to command the football properly?
Yeah, I think that's where Amari Cooper would be a better option than Stephon Diggs. Like Amari Cooper, nobody's ever been like Amari Cooper's loud. A lot of people have just been like, he's just kind of a clock in, clock out guy. He's been kind of a mercenary coming into Cleveland. Somebody
traded 3 times.
Yeah, he's just a veteran, but he was a top 10 pick like Marv. I wouldn't hate that fit. You know, can he play underneath? Can you put him underneath and move him around a little bit?
Amari Cooper was he was like Marv on another level with the crossing routes in that Cleveland offense. He was unbelievable that one season, but he's lost it a little bit. He's not throwing as hard any longer.
Let's look at the defensive free agents, which we feel like are much more plausible. That's been the theme of this offseason for the Arizona Cardinals. Edge, D-line, linebacker, and corner. Edge rusher market's drying up with the signing of Azeez Ojulari, Judon, who's old. Cardinals kind of inquired last August before being traded to the Falcons. Zadarius Smith, another old guy that was traded from Cleveland to Detroit. And then you've got Calais Campbell, who's 38, going on 39. Kazir White remains unsigned. And then you've got 4 notable veteran corners. It's funny, you hear Dalvin Tomlinson mentioned Zadarius Smith during his time with him in Cleveland. And then, of course, Kazir White's been a stalwart of the Cardinals defense under JG and Nick Rallis. Could he come back on a team-friendly deal? What stands out to you, Bo?
I like all these guys. I think any of these guys you can make a case like kind of like the fit on the Cardinals. And I know like Judon and Zadarius Smith would be just guys you would bring on to be your pass rush specialists. But I mean, if Calais came back to the desert where it all began as a second-round pick, it'd be electric. I don't care about his age. I don't care about, the potential, blocking a younger defensive lineman at this point. He's still just as productive as ever. And then these corners down here, I know that it's such a up and down, uneven position that you get these guys with a decent, front seven push that they can be productive. And, Rasul Douglas will always be the guy that you had that got away, that went on after being on the Cardinals, practice squad to starting and then ripping your heart out on a primetime game. And then, Kendall Fuller is more, he played well last year. He played well transitioning from being a primary slot corner to being able to play some outside. And then Mike Hilton, he's fine. So is Asante. Yeah.
I just like those, if any of those transactions transpired, my top choice outside of, Asante Samuel, probably, I would love to see Kazir White back. I know that it's probably not likely at this point, but I have not seen that Gaithers Davis play football before. I have not watched him. I have no idea what kind of football player he is. He's a part-timer, right? In the same vein that like Cardinals have mixed in some younger players, some veterans, part-time linebackers. If they feel like they can make him into what Mike Edwards and Kazir White were in Philadelphia, awesome. Then I'll trust their judgment on that. But it's a lot to ask because Mack Wilson Sr., is he going to play his same role from last year? Is he taking on all the responsibilities from Kazir White? Like is maybe as limited as Kazir White is in some aspects. The game-winning interception against San Francisco. I mean, he's got a nose for the football and he can help this team in a lot of ways. Whereas one of those two guys flames out, gets injured, linebacker, like that's a big loss for the Cardinals. Any deal, because your White's signing right now, doesn't it feel like it's going to be a 1-year deal?
I just think it would block some of the stuff, the transactions that you've made to this date now. Like, because you're White, if he comes in, he probably has this expectation that he just takes back the role that he had the last 2 years, which is fine. You know what you're going to get there. But does it, if you have the conviction in, Akeem Davis Gaither being this every down Mike, let him roll with it. Like, it is going to be curious to see who's the green dot, who's the penny linebacker, who's going to be the guy that's going to step into the shoes left by Kazir White. But Cardinals felt very confident letting him exit. And that's not a knock on Kazir. It's just, having, I think, the foresight in this game to let a guy go early instead of too late. So bringing him back, like it would probably stunt your ability to develop these linebackers. Like TJ Edwards, like the way he got better was playing in developing Jonathan Gannon's system. Same thing for Kazir White. And they turned in and parlayed it into some pretty good free agent deals and made some careers of themselves that otherwise weren't there before. And I think that for, ADG, that's right. That's what they're looking at.
Yeah. Listen, I know people are dogging his coverage in the chat. I'm not saying he's a perfect player. He hasn't been signed yet, right? If he was Dre Greenlaw or Nick Bolton, he would have been signed within the first 48 to 72 hours. I guess part of me too is just, I want it so that there is a assurance that the Cardinals don't go off-ball linebacker early in this draft. Like, the closer we get, and I see people mocking that Bama linebacker pick 16, I'm like, please no, we're not doing that here. Can we just get some more bodies in this group?
What if they did?
No.
What if they do?
No, come on.
Can you let your mind get to that place at all?
I've had that.
Watch Jahad Campbell in the combine. Like, I understand the positional value. It's terrible. I understand the nightmare pass that we all had to live through.
When you take a linebacker that high, it was my argument with Isaiah Simmons or whatever. The unrealistic expectations, they then have to become a top 3 to 5 at their position. Whereas if you take a pass rusher and you're just like, hey, this guy gets 8 to 12 sacks a year, that's a win.
I get it. Dude,
when they took Simmons, it was like Luke Kuechly. Oh, really? Just a Hall of Famer, one of the best at his position over a decade? Like, oh, yeah, sure. Let's sign up for that. Taking an off-ball linebacker, given where this team is at, would just be such gross negligence. Ossenfort would never do it. It goes against everything that they do for team building wise. Never.
Yeah. Can I just play devil's advocate a little bit? Yeah. It's not this hybrid player like both Simmons and Zaven Collins for you. Okay,
plays the position already.
Dying. He might pass away. But Jahad Campbell is a surefire off-ball linebacker. Played it at Bama, was recruited at Bama. Does that give you any kind of interest at all?
No, I have no interest. I have no interest in that. I also part of me is like, why do the 49ers get to draft off-ball linebackers in the 3rd and 4th round? They're great. Like, go do that. You want to take, like in our mock drafts, take a kid late on day 2, on day 3, screw around with your picks like you did with Tip Ryman, and take an off-ball. Do not take an off-ball linebacker in the 1st round. It's just not good value. Like, I love what the Detroit Lions have done and putting together their loaded roster. What's the one pick that they probably want back?
Let's jump in the DeLorean. Let's set the date to late April. It's got into 88, and the Cardinals 16th overall take Jahad Campbell. What's your reaction?
I don't know. I don't want to do that. Stop it. That's not fun. Come on.
Back to the future. Come on, Johnny. Let's go back to the future.
I'm at the point now. Now I can't say what I wanted to say. I'm going to be responsible here. I think, but I'll contextualize it. I think running back in the 1st round is better value than off-ball linebacker. I'm at that point right now. They touch the ball more often. They can catch the football out of the backfield. Like, the Lions took Jahmyr Gibbs and people panned him for it, and he's a stud. He's an all-pro. And they took Jack Campbell, and he's average, right?
Yeah.
Like I think off-ball linebacker might be the worst position value in the first round. I'd take a guard. I'd take a safety. Certainly, you take a corner. Whatever you want. Tight end. If it's a generational tight end, get away from that position. We don't even need to have this conversation again. I'm convinced Ossenfort wouldn't do it. And again, Kazir White comes back, add to that room, whatever you want to do. 1 to 2 year deals, brother. Let's not, but doesn't it make you sense that like, oh, look, they signed a starter who's been a part-time player and they're paying him no money. You think the result of that is, but by the way, they're also going to take that position at 16. I don't think so. I think they're going to say, look what we just did. We had to pay Josh Sweat, who we like, $76 million. Go do that again.
Yeah. I just think it's more far-fetched to look at Kazir White and say, hey, they can reconcile. Like his position is filled. Like his role, what's his role going to be?
Go compete. Have him compete.
Yeah, but the conversation you had with Akeem Davis-Gaither, I mean, you can't go back on what you.
Oh, this is the NFL.
No, I understand.
Cry about it. Promises?
I'm not. Listen, sound like an old surly like high school coach. Like rub some dirt on it.
You promised me I would start.
No, they paid this guy, because the same like contract Kazir White got to come here, and they just view him as like a younger version of Kazir. I'm sure
it'd be great if Ossenfort or JG would jump in front of a mic soon. When's the next time you hear from those guys?
Before the draft.
All right, everybody, log that question away because I think it's a good one. Is he a starter in this defense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, JG talks at the coaches and owners thing at the end of the month.
Are you flying out for that?
We'll see.
You did my guy did an overnight last night and just rolled into red eye. Just walked into this swank country club. Here's Bo Brack in his khakis on the grind. So come with your heated questions. I have a question for you. Is Victor Dimukeje coming back to the Cardinals, or is he saying goodbye to the Arizona Cardinals? Plus, we look at updated position depth charts for the Cardinals defense. How much better is the unit now compared to the end of the year? Drop a comment on this video. Leave a like. We're just getting cooked up. 1,300 people watching. Drop a like. I'll tell you what I like, Bo, is our friends at Pure Edibles. Pure Edibles.
Love Pure Edibles. Yeah, you know what I mean? Built their whole company up in Flagstaff, I-17, made their way down because they're big time now. They're in over 130 dispensaries statewide, and Pure gummies are not covered in sugar like their competitors. This is a full-fledged candy company offering gummies. They've got their kicks, which are like Starburst. They've got their chews that are soft candies like caramel, and their hard candies, and all the effects outlined right there on each Pure Edibles 10. So you know what to expect from your Pure gummies or whatever you might be ingesting. Full sleep support, as well as candies, uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, and CBD with marijuana derived from THC. Up in Flagstaff is where they began in Noble Herb Dispensary, and now it's down here in Phoenix. Pure gummies designed to be ripped, bit, so you can share them, and also you can just dial in that exact dose that you want. Check them out right now. Find out for yourself. Pure edible products from one of the 130 dispensaries here in Arizona. Pure edible.
Fired up with our friends at Pure Edibles, and then fired up for my best friends at Circle K. Circle K, America's thirst stop right now. Snacks on snacks, baby, as well as saving 25 cents on your first 5 fill-ups, but you got to become a member. Join the Inner Circle for free. Enter to download right now. Easy. So easy. You got an email, you got a phone number, then you can be a part of the Inner Circle. After that, all you need your phone number to fill up at the gas tank. And again, after those first 5 fill-ups, it's just 3 cents per gallon every single day. And they've got so many other snacks and beverages to choose from, including the 79-cent Polar Pop or Froster. Hello? I need them right now in my life. You should too. Thirst has met its match. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more info. Drop a like on this video. And again, I don't want to come out and act like I don't think the kid out of Bama can play. He's a fantastic college player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure he's going to be good. But it's PTSD. It's where the Cardinals are at in their rebuild. It's like,
Right.
can they afford to take another off-ball linebacker again and have it not work out? I don't think they can. The hit rate isn't there. The positional value isn't there. It's not like you have a roster that's like, it's almost done. We're putting the fine touch. You need defensive linemen. So
Right.
I'm going to say a hard pass on that.
I agree with you. I was just playing a little devil's advocate just because when you start to look at 16th and you get down the draft board a little bit, you start to see some of these premium positions picked apart. You would be able to get a guy that's, the top consensus prospect at his respective position. But look, no, you lean into the premium positions. We've seen that work and pay off so far for Monti Ossenfort and looking good. Before we get into the heartbreaking news, what do we make of T-Mac's pro day today? Tedero McMillan, U of A wide receiver. There was a little discrepancy as far as the 40 time. It came out, Albert Burr saying the pro day for T-Mac, he ran hand time 4.54, 4.55, and 4.57 on stopwatches of 3 teams that Burr talked to.
Well, Jordan Schultz first came out and said the numbers were a little faster.
4.48.
Yeah. Well, it's in vogue right now because Jordan Schultz, friend of the program, has been dropping scoops left and right. He's been on some of the national guys that people are trying to diminish Jordan Schultz. So I think the truth is probably somewhere in between, because a lot of people are like, they're doing the well actually, which, by the way, we're very familiar with the well actually approach. We get well actually all the time by the geezers in this market. We'll put something out and somebody will 2 hours later, well actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with Jordan Schultz here. I'm going to say I believe he ran sub 4.5, and I think that puts him firmly in the top 15. I've always thought he's a top 20 player, but I think the question then becomes, like, I had number one D-backs fan in Texas DM me today. He's like, is there value in the Cardinals considering him at pick 16? Not my preference, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's better value and it's a better pick than the player we just talked about taking a pick 16, Bo Brack, in an off-ball linebacker.
Without question. I'm looking at Jordan Reed right now. He talked to 2 scouts, 4.52, 4.55. I'm guessing it's somewhere. I mean, those are very, from a hand time perspective, we're talking about hundredths of a second here.
Right.
Like it's pretty understandable that they would be off on like 0.05 or whatever. But I think this is about what I expected T-Mac to run, 4.5. And I wish he jumped because I wanted to see his vertical. But I don't even think he really needs to prove that to anybody. So I think it was overall a good day for him. He answers some questions about people that thought maybe he was going to run even slower than that. I don't expect much faster than that. So I'm happy with it.
I mean, Michael Wilson was like I think high 4.5, maybe a 4.6 guy.
I mean, Mike Evans ran a 4.5.
Mike Evans, yeah. I hear it. I mean, the playing speed is there for T-Mac, the athleticism, the physicality.
4.58 for Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
Obviously official.
What do you think about this, Damon?
Rafa's my guy, so
T-Mac.
we were in on Kuntz together, so I won't come too hard after him, but that's horrific.
Treddy
T-Mac was significantly better than Laquan Treadwell.
Hey, fun fact, I was on the sideline for Laquan Treadwell's high school state championship game. Freak show. I don't know what happened after he left Ole Miss, but Treddy was something special before he got to the NFL. So Rafa, no disrespect there. As Bo leaves the screen.
What?
He was unbelievable. Treadwell looked like flipping Anquan Bolden, freak show out of Ole Miss. Just NFL just couldn't.
He was supposed to be the top receiver in that draft.
He was unbelievable. Some guys, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Not only did he underwhelm, he got to the NFL and it's like, bro, couldn't play. So I don't think that's going to happen to T-Mac. Damon, where's T-Mac?
I think he was with the Cardinals for like a cup of coffee on a practice squad 2 years
Treadwell's
ago.
best season came in year 7. He was with the Jaguars at that point, 400 yards. I mean, just a disaster class draft pick.
T-Mac played with a literal dinosaur calling plays last season and still had a better season last year than Laquan Treadwell did in his best season at Ole Miss. So I feel comfortable saying T-Mac is a much better receiver prospect than Laquan Treadwell was.
I mean, how high does he go? If he runs 4.45 or below, Like where does he go then? Like does he
Same, I think,
Yeah,
right? Back
probably
into
the
the
same,
top
like,
10,
yeah.
highest,
All right,
probably a little bit lower.
let's do it right now. Let's do ceilings and floors. T-Mac 2025 NFL draft. I'll go first. The Patriots, what are they? They can't be serious again with this receiver group. You can't take Treddy T-Mac at 4,
Right.
but you could do a mini trade down and take him. I think there's a good chance after today, like New Orleans could take him, Carolina could take him, the Raiders could take him. I mean, you could talk me into 4 teams in the top 10. And then in the bottom half, like Colts need a wideout. Cowboys could take another receiver. I don't think it's certainly in play for San Fran or Chicago. The horror show is if he falls past the Colts at 14, he could be falling for a minute.
I feel like the Cowboys would take him.
Yeah.
Personally.
Probably.
It's where they kind of took CD. No, it's a little higher than CD. CD was 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do see, like, I think New England in a trade down, the Raiders, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Cowboys. Those seem like the most
You don't like the
reasonable
Jags
options to
anymore?
me. I think that's a little high. I think that'd be a crazy pick by them, but maybe they do it.
Duval. It's Tampa Bay's old receiver coach. He's or offensive coordinator. He's seen Mike Evans firsthand. He knows how much that benefits you to have a couple big time playmakers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Rip my heart out. Do it now.
What am I gonna say?
What about Dimukeje? Are we gonna get to that?
Let's tease him one more time.
All right.
And then let's look at the film. But a lot of people think it meaning his tweet means he could be back. I don't know if I agree with that. But I want to get everybody's takes. Plus your super chats. Again, 1,400 strong. If you're watching, drop us a like. Coming right back. Victor Dimukeje, depth charts. PHNX Cardinals. Cardinals spending some money this offseason like we knew they would. Speaking of your money, is it in good hands? You know what you need to do to up your financial credit union, official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. They've got a team of financial experts who are committed to their members like you, like me, not just the bigwigs, folks. They've got tailor-made financial solutions helping to achieve your financial goals and dreams. They've got more than just an ATM. They've got checking accounts and savings. They also have loans, personal loans, credit cards, bills for credit for you or a loved one. Plus, no better place to do your banking than with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. Rep the Red Sea right now. All you got to do, go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started. Open up a free checking account online and rep one of 3 Arizona Cardinal Visa debit cards. How about those? But you got to go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started. Again, free, takes a matter of minutes. Debit cards in the mail a couple days after the fact. Do it now, Bo.
Love it. Love a dub. Love a Waymo as well. I'd love to just hop in a Waymo and head home post show. I got to drive my truck instead. But if I could go to and from work in a Waymo every day, I would. Of course, you've got Waymo in 3 markets right now, including our beloved Phoenix, over 150,000 trips per week from San Francisco, Los Angeles, and here in the Valley. Waymo, first company to serve a fully autonomous ride with no human behind the wheel in 2015. And they've only been just mastering it ever since. Got to download the Waymo One app today. Request your first Waymo if you haven't tried it already, and then ride along. Enjoy the comfort. Enjoy everything that Waymo has to offer. It's a Jag. It's a beautiful Jag with leather seats, and they got all the technology you want as far as what you can listen to. It's fantastic. Can't wait for my next Waymo. Can't wait to fire up the app and get my next ride. Over 40 million miles real-world driving experience. Nothing to worry about there. It's enough to get to the moon and back 80 times. Download the Waymo One app today and ride today.
This comment here from Mike in the chat. Dimukeje. Is that how we pronounce it? Doom. Cardinals. We've teased it for 54 minutes. Here it is. just before the show. Everybody else got their goodbye memos out 2 months ago. Zach Pascal, Kazir White, Victor Dimukeje's like, I'm going to reserve mine for March 17th. Prayer hands, thank you, AZ. Is that a thank you, I'm back? Or is that a thank you, my services are headed elsewhere, Bo?
I've never seen anybody like say thank you, AZ, and then sign a brand new contract to return. This would be different.
First time for everything. How do you read that then? Is he going somewhere else?
I think he's probably on his way out. I mean, I'm sure it's just like did we see Zach Pascal was meet with the Giants? He was going on a visit today with the Giants. Like, there's clearly a collection of guys that the writing was spelled out on the wall that their time here with the Cardinals was over. And maybe this was just like Victor Dimukeje putting out on social media, giving himself a little maybe boost for people to know, like, hey, I'm available. Come get me.
Seems a little late for that. I think, again, I would hope that this means he's got a spot secure somewhere else, right? A lot of people think, I mean, we talked to somebody close to the Cardinals at the NFL Combine. They're like, Victor Dimukeje would have a little bit of a market. It's exciting for him and his family, I'm sure. And he kind of got stuck in a weird time where the pass rush group was so underserved, regime changes, coaching changes, and he stuck around. He and Jesse Luketa, man, I know, I've dogged on them a little bit, and it's certainly not about the person, but they got lumped in with unrealistic expectations. I mean, Luketa and Dimukeje were 5th and 6th round picks. They should never have been starting. And because the Cardinals' gross negligence with the position the last several years, it's like there they were starting on NFL Sundays, and it's like directly or indirectly, the rest of us just like, what are they doing? So I think, you look at special teamer, locker room guy, depth guy, need those guys on your roster. But Dimukeje, where'd he play? Duke? I mean, he was always somebody at the end of the day that would have been better served as a rotational guy and a special teamer. So wish him well. And, but yeah,
you know what?
Go ahead.
I hope he lands in Philly. Put him with Vic Fangio. Whoo! He might be better than Josh Sweat if we get him to Philly. Let's make that happen. I think that's just a match made in heaven.
Was it Victor Dimukeje who had that preseason game and he had like 4 sacks in a preseason game? We're like, oh, you know what?
He had 4 sacks in 4 years for the Cardinals. Actually, all 4 of them came in 2023. Then put up, goose egg the 3 other seasons. He's a good team player. He's a good rotational guy. Decent against the run. Rollis loved him. I'm sure Gannon loved him as well. It's just needs just a little bit more production. You got to have, once you get to this, you can find this guy in the upcoming draft.
No Victor Dimukeje. What does the Cardinals starting defense look like now before we're going to jump into it? Everybody who's watching on our many streaming partners, welcome, friends. We got 1,400 watching live. Jump on over to gophnx.com. Hit that like button. If you're watching on Twitter, we appreciate you. Again, jump on over to live stream and get saddled up with us in the chat. All right, Bo, here it is. The new look Cardinals as of March 17th defensively. What do you think?
Looks a lot better, doesn't it? That defensive front 7. You actually get a little excited about seeing Sweat and Tomlinson on there, and then the idea of a healthy Darius Robinson. I mean, it puts all these guys in a better position for success. It's I know that you're a little skeptical about Keem Davis Gaither and his ability to play that off ball, maybe that Mike linebacker position, maybe wear the green dot. But I like the 3 guys here on the defensive front, the 4 guys up there, and then Browning in a rotational role. They have elevated the talent floor significantly just with the 2 big moves that they made last week.
You can take this with some sincerity here. They're not done adding. They're going to add a veteran corner to come in and compete and presumably potentially start opposite Max Melton. Garrett Williams is due for a contract extension. There was some talk on Twitter about what his next contract would look like. We'll save that for another day. But I mean, Mack Wilson Sr. was fantastic last year. Josh Sweat, again, he match what he did with Gannon a couple of years ago? A lot of people think he can. I mean, like, they're going to give Baron Browning an opportunity here, presumably with a rookie sniffing right behind him. Like, all right, Baron Browning, put together what everybody thinks you. Well, there's never been a better time for Baron Browning to get it together. You're with JG and Nick Rallis. You're in the best position you've been in to be showcased now, right? This team believes in you. They gave you a 2-year deal. This is either going to end one of two ways. There's not going to be an in-between. Like, we're all probably in between on Zaven Collins. Good depth player, knows his role, gets sacks. I think Baron Browning's either going to explode or he's not going to be very good. And he's going to be passed up by the 16th or 47th overall pick. I don't think there's any in-between. And again, if he has a chance to begin OTAs and minicamp as the starter on this defensive line, no excuses. Everybody, all the analytic nerds talking about pressures and quarterback hit rates and all that stuff that it's tough to see sometimes on NFL Sundays, especially when the Cardinals defense can't get turnovers. This is the year. I want to see him put together, have a Josh Sweat year, have 7, 8, 9 sacks opposite Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson. Then I'll buy in.
Right. No, I love that. Look, I mean, your well wishes for Baron Browning, somebody that you've been, kind of his nemesis since him being acquired for a 6th-round pick in the Broncos. But obviously, what a lot of the fan base's expectation were, it's crazy. Yeah, look, I would sign him for 7 sacks right now, because my next point, as far as this is with the draft looming, and the ability to add on to this. Like, if you were to say we're in July and this is the defensive, projected starters going into training camp, I'd be a little underwhelmed. But from where they were to where they are now, anything you add on top of that, man, it's going to look unbelievable if you add one of the top edges in this class, or if you add the next best defensive tackle outside of Mason Graham, who's going to get selected in the top 10.
Yeah, like beggars can't be choosers here. We can't go from having the worst defensive line in the NFL to all 4 of those guys on that front 4 are stud all pros, like the Niners a couple of years ago, and unfortunately what the Rams are building. Can 2 of the guys be stars? And could you just have a steady rotation? I think that should be the expectation now. Like, what if you trade down, you get a Derek Harmon and you get, the kid out of Arkansas, right? What if you trade down and you get, one of the 2nd-tier pass rushers and you double up? There are a lot of different combinations. And I'm going to tell you right now, Bo, I was talking with somebody earlier today. This draft in particular, because I see, James Pierce Jr. was mocked to the Cardinals again today. It's like, what if the Cardinals don't vibe with James Pierce Jr. and Mike Green? What do you do here? I do think that you're in a position right now where unless one of the D tackles falls to you, what edge rusher is worthy of pick 16 that could conceivably be there for you?
Right. And I think that was Daniel Jeremiah's point. Like, if you're not in on the top guys at the edge, like, you're probably best suited to take one in the 2nd round, where that's like the strength of this class is it remains just as good deeper in the draft as it is near the top of the draft. I mean, not completely, right? Like, James Pierce has the ability to go out there and just be a war daddy, game-wrecking edge rusher, right? But there's so many character concerns, all of these reports coming out of, Tennessee and Knoxville, and then obviously the red flags and the incidents that Mike Green's allegedly been involved in, that if you want it, like, you might be best served to take a defensive lineman, interior guy, to play up front, more beef, to go with Dalvin Tomlinson and Darius Robinson, and then go take JT from Ohio State, Landon Jackson, or whoever you prefer, whatever guy you feel is a better scheme fit down the draft board.
I'm with folks in the chat. I'm going to throw this comment up here as we sit here about a month out. Jalen Walker is not my first choice, but compared to Campbell, who is a traditional off-ball linebacker, if Gannon and Rallis are like, we think he's got the traits to be an edge rusher, a Reddick for us, right, and can move in space and intercept passes, you want to take Jalen Walker? I don't have an issue with that. It's not my first choice, right? Give me a guy who played that position in college that can rack up 12-plus sacks a year, but if that's the best option and you don't have a trade down and a lot of people think he won't even be available, if the value was there, take him. Don't have a problem with that. I've come around on that. Not my first choice, though.
Welcome. And Jalen Walker's, he would be, when you look at the outside linebacker position, that's who I think Rollis and Gannon would envision. But we'll see if he even makes it to 16.
All you had to do is you had to threaten me with a true off-ball linebacker at 16 to get me on board with Jalen Walker. And it's like, okay, I concede.
It's nasty work on my behalf.
Yeah.
But I just had to throw away like 10 minutes of your lives just to do it.
Let's see that defensive front seven or defensive formation here. Starting formation one more time. Jalen Thompson, you feel pretty good on this team?
Yeah. I mean, they don't need to save money anymore.
Taylor Demerson, going to be the first guy off the bench, I think, in any defensive back spot. We brought him up with Gannon and Rollis at the combine off air, and both those guys just lit up with the opportunity to move him around. He's going to play a ton. So it's a numbers game in the back seven. That's why, again, I would not mind if they brought back Kazir White. I think you need numbers at off-ball linebacker, just like they have at DB. The defensive line, though, there's still work to be done. Who are the first four behind these front four, Bo, in your opinion, if you had to rattle them off right now?
Behind the guys up front? Bilal Nichols, Justin Jones in the interior, and you got Dante Stills as well. And then the edge, you've got BJ Ojulari and Zaven Collins.
Basically, your starting defensive line from last year are all backups now.
Yeah.
As it should be. That's the way it should be.
I think the only place you don't have somebody that you're any position you're not like too deep at is slot corner with Garrett Williams. And like JT can fill in that role.
Yep.
And then like off-ball linebacker. You're not going to convince me that Michael Walker is going to be like this. Maybe you bring back Chris Barnes or maybe Owen Papo emerges. But those are the two positions you're really just like, hey, we can go too deep there because you can take a corner with Starling Thomas now. And then as we just kind of went through your starters from last year and now playing backup roles in 2025.
Elijah Jones gets a clean bill of health, hopefully this offseason. Throw him in there. Yeah, not a finished product, but certainly not worst case scenario anymore. You want to touch on Kyler Murray and his world travels?
Yeah, let's do that. As we'll get to your super chats here shortly, but Kyler Murray's doing 2-week stint in South Korea, where his mom is from, and he's a lot of pride in being from South Korea and making his first trip over there, and has done a lot of cool things. I think he had a football camp. He went to a hospital and he's talking to some local TV, and he had a couple quotes go up. NFL Network put out there, and let's hear from Kyler Murray. We got it. This is quote. He was on KSB World Radio English, so they've got Kyler talking about where he thinks that the Cardinals are going, likes their trajectory, but he said, quote, I'm only been in the playoffs once. That in itself is disappointing to me and frustrating. Got to turn that around. I'm only getting older, but I'm only 27, still young. So we've got some time, and I know we're headed in the right direction.
I mean, like Kyler Murray, the last several years, says and does all the right things off the field. Like I have no issue with Kyler Murray as a poster child, for lack of a better term, for this franchise. I mean, he, again, somebody that I think since the extension, since the arrival of Gannon, he's at the facility, he's working out with teammates. He's a good teammate by all accounts. Like, I have no issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the optics with Kyler Murray start and end with, why can't he get over the hump at the end of the year? That's it. That's the last box to check. Like, do I want Kyler Murray starting for this team on NFL Sundays? Absolutely. And do I think that on any given Sunday he can be a top 5 guy? No doubt. He was in the MVP conversation again this year. Go look what he did to the Rams week 2.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is nothing with Kyler Murray, the person, what he says off the field. It's all about why can he not win games when they matter most at the end of the year? And unfortunately, and I love these comments, none of it matters until then.
None of it matters. I get that. I get that to agree. No doubt about it. I mean, and you only are going to be able to get the opportunities, and you either perform or you don't. And down the stretch, most recently, like he didn't answer that call. And when you see when he expresses his frustration, that's the right approach as well. As Gannon says, he's the guy that takes the arrow in the forehead. But it's just now it's reached this point, this fever pitch where it has to be answered next season, because then the fan base is going to say, hey, it's been 7 years now.
Yeah.
But when you look at Kyler Murray and what he's been able to do, and what the Cardinals are doing roster-wise, what I think Kyler Murray's done as far as getting himself in a position to be successful, as far as his training, I mean, there's nobody more competitive in that locker room. And then how now he's really starting to check some boxes. Like, this is a great thing that he's doing. He's becoming a bit of a global ambassador for the game of football in his mom's home country of South Korea, and that's fantastic. But like, it could be something where it's like, if he does check that box, I mean, he wouldn't just take the Cardinals to the next level. I mean, he would take his own brand to the next level.
I expect him to play well. I expect this team. We posted something on Twitter over the weekend. I expect this team to make the playoffs. I think they put together enough depth on this roster the last several years now, with the culmination of this rebuild. Like, Kyler Murray, he said it. He's been a playoff quarterback before. He can be one again, and then we'll have a different bar to judge him on. But I again, like, an ambassador for the Arizona Cardinals, he's a good one, right? In a league right now where, I mean, like, there's so much negativity surrounding Aaron Rodgers and bringing him in, and Russell Wilson and his issues with teammates, teams having to talk themselves into Jameis at this point. Like, I think it's hard with Kyler Murray. You have to contextualize it with two categories. Like, he's not Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson, but he's also not these other guys that he's sometimes compared to. And that's okay. Like, we have to get comfortable embracing him for what he is and what he's shown us to be up until this point. And if he has a Baker Mayfield like ascension, we're here for that. I want that for him. But if we get capsized again and we're underwhelmed and it's he and Petsy and it's disappointing, then we're going to have that adult conversation as well. So that's the beauty of the NFL, man. Like, again, we were dogging on the Suns earlier. That team's stuck with Bradley Beal. Disaster, right? I mean, like, Kyler Murray underperforms, they're going to move off of him. Kyler Murray performs well, probably get a raise. It's a novel concept how that works.
Yeah, but what he really needs to do for the best for his career is avoid getting into this, like, being that quarterback purgatory quarterback.
Yeah,
like, you don't want to be the next
Derek
Russell Wilson. You don't want to be the next, I mean, you don't want your next contract to rival Sam Darnold, and you're taking a pay cut. Like, that contract's aging very well, but at the same time, you want to put yourself in a position, talking about how he's still youthful at 27 and be 28 in August. You get a chance to cash in. I mean, in the quarterback position, you might even cash in twice more, just depending on what he can do during now this opportunity that the Cardinals have been building to put him in. And like, this year been a bit of a make or break type situation. The pressure's on. The pressure's been mounting for, ever since he came back. And I think he answered it pretty well post knee injury, playing down the stretch there for 8 games. And then this season, it was just like, okay, it was fine, but it lacked, the magic. It lacked the next level that people wanted to get to, because they see the skill set. They've seen previous performances. They just didn't see it as consistent as they'd like.
I mean, he's their best homegrown quarterback ever. And I think he's never had more continuity and a better head coach and a better general manager who backs him. And he's going to be given every opportunity to succeed this year. And this podcast is rooting for him. I love the optics of him traveling and, spreading the gospel, for lack of a better term, about the game of football. I just feel like for the people who are dismissive of Kyler Murray, whether it's historically dismissive or based on how he finished this past year, this will probably fall on deaf ears for a lot of people. It doesn't for this show and for us.
Sure.
But people want to know why the Cardinals at 6-4 did not make the playoffs this year. People want to know why did you finish 2-5?
Right.
Why were you swept by Geno Smith, who was just traded for a third rounder? Those are going to be the questions that have to be answered. And I think he's prepared to answer them. Like this team right now, you're going up against Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp, right? You're Kyler Murray. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride.
Yeah.
Like this and a defense led by Jonathan Gannon. Now's the time. Got to win now.
Kyler Murray can parlay, this trip to South Korea, this team breaking through in 2025. Like he could put the Cardinals back on the map significantly.
No doubt.
And like all those, as he's doing this like tour, people be like, obviously he's probably one of the in the headlines over there. He could become a bit of like the Cardinals fan base can grow internationally, which is something that's never happened. Like they attach NFL teams to like Mexico and they attach them to Germany and stuff like that. But Kyler Murray having that, being South Korean or his mom is like that would be something that I think you could get that country to tune in to the NFL more regularly if they had a guy going to the playoffs and winning a lot of football games.
Well, you just said it. You have to win.
Right.
I think the Cardinals with Kyler Murray gets cut, traded, would have a market tomorrow, right? Easily. You probably would have gotten, if the Cardinals had traded Kyler Murray, they would have gotten a top 40 pick easily this offseason, right? But who do you pivot to? Well, there's nobody to pivot. That's why they're rolling with Kyler Murray. And right now, his contract's aging pretty well. But here's what I will say. The Cardinals, though, now that this roster is Ossenfort's babies, right? Mm-hmm. These are guys he signed, he's drafted. Gannon, Rollis, Petzing are molding, right? Keim guys are more or less gone, save for Abuda or James Conner.
Right. Trey McBride.
Trey McBride, no doubt. When you get to that point, Kyler Murray, help us get over this hump. Oh, you can't do that? Then we're going to have to find somebody else because you have different expectations.
Right.
Expectations 2 years ago, fast forward to now. Yeah, I mean, even Gannon, I threw a line in when we talked to him at the Combine during our interview about, hey, you're the first coach to have a winning record at home in this season since Bruce Arians. And, his response was, don't have a winning record, though.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, that's the bar this year to make the playoffs and have a winning record. What happens if that doesn't happen and the quarterback underperforms? I mean, then it's
right.
Really tough conversations.
Well, and I think that doesn't fall short on Kyler either. Like when he was rolling and the Cardinals were 6-4 and they rattled off 4 straight, he's sitting in the press conference room. He's like, I've been part of some hot streaks, not enough. Yeah, I've been part of hot streaks. I've had great statistical starts and they all fall, they all fall short, right? And things start to fester, right? So I think he wants to get and continue to be in the Gannon approach where it's, the cliche, the one game at a time and make sure they don't get too far ahead of themselves because they understand they don't have the luxury to, let things get faster. I mean, because you can see how close it is, how tight it is in this league, how good it is. And if you're not on top of your game for even a quarter, Minnesota, you lose that game. You come out with the L. You show up in Charlotte against a bad Carolina Panthers team, and they knock you out of the playoffs. They end your season. So he understands it. And like he's got all this information. He's got all this talent. He's got all this. He's now had multiple opportunities, but now is the time that you have to prove people that you can be the guy.
Well said. And I hope he does it. But yeah, it's going to be a really fun team to watch this year, for better or worse.
But to your point, like if the explosives are missing from the passing game and there's confidence in Petzing or you like their playmakers, I mean, they're running it back offensive. There hasn't been a significant move, as we've outlined, on the offensive side of the football. Like there's a lot of confidence in the continuity. Now it's just like Kyler leading the charge for that group to prove that them betting on continuity in the previous group was the right move.
My biggest argument was always, I saw explosives with Kyler Murray before Drew Petzing. If Kyler Murray is fine physically and has a big arm still, like where the hell are those? I've seen him launch balls to Christian Kirk and D-Hop and AJ Green.
Yeah.
Bring that back. And if you're telling me that you can't and it's a quarterback problem, if it's not physical, then what the hell is it? You can't tell me. We watched those games last year and he was not coached to spam the ball underneath. Like, it just felt like check down, check down, check down. He and Drew Petzing, man, like they can be each other's best friends this year. They remedy that. Drew Petzing's going to get head coaching interviews. Kyler Murray's going to get stability. All right, let's jump into these super chats. Again, 1,500 watching live. We appreciate all of you as we continue to break down the latest with your favorite team. Richard, $4.99. Johnny, have you bought your Marvin Harrison Jr. jersey yet? We have one en route to our home. I cannot take credit for it. My folks bought one, and they've been consistent with this messaging for my son,
Awesome.
who has been waiting. So we've got the red 18 MHJ. It says it should be here like a little bit before the draft. But I mean, I think if I were to get one, Richard, and maybe I will before the start of the year, I will probably get the white one, and it wasn't available yet. So
I like that. That's awesome. Grandparents stepping up.
they are.
Where dad falls short, the grandparents stepping up. When the kid needs that MHJ jersey, he's been. There hasn't been a single person that's been longing for an MHJ jersey more than your kid.
My grandparent or my parents, they're great people. They're in the Midwest. I'm in the trenches every day with my 10-year-old. They can ship a jersey. That's what they say. We'll do this. I said, yep, I'm up with him at 7 a.m. He's 2 weeks to spring break. God help us, Bo.
Bees, $2. If Clayton Adams vouches for Donovan Jackson, do it. I like the versatile offensive lineman from Iowa State. Where you willing to take him 47th overall, or you like him better in the third round?
I mean, he's probably earliest you could take him would be at 47 if you loved him. Maybe trade down. That's the sweet spot, though. I don't think he's making it to your pick in the third round, though. I think
I think he's one of those guys that like you're probably not going to start him day one. So your second round pick, you're gonna have to wait on it. I'd much rather see a defender there. Johnny would much rather see Scat. Let's keep it going here. C Manich, $1.99. Offense needs speed. No wide receiver can take the top off.
Well, no free agents can give you that. That's remaining. These are just old heads. Maybe Elijah Moore. I would rather see Xavier Weaver. They were trying to get him targets in that finale against San Francisco. What if Xavier Weaver's good? What if he shows up to camp and is just running around looking solid? So, like Dortch is always productive when you get him the ball. Zay Jones had a great training camp. I think it's a scheme. We got a scheme problem right now. The more whiteouts, it's just like, I don't know about that.
It's March 17th. If you got a scheme problem, that's a big issue. Carp Fish, $4.99. Wrapping up the super chats. You guys rule. Let's take Matthew Golden, LOL JK. But would be nice to have some speed at the position. It's the point Johnny just made, right? I mean, that's your next best option as far as finding some speed at the position is the draft.
Here's what this Cardinal offense needs to do. Move Marvin Harrison Jr. around. Let him run a million crossers this year and torch all those defensive backs he did last year. And then make sure he and Trey McBride have like 8 to 10 targets a game. And then just let the chips fall where they may. I'm talking like a jackass. Bring in Keenan Allen. Bring in Amari Cooper. I don't want to see those guys get targets.
Yeah.
I was sitting here every week. Bo's at the stadium. We're at the studio. We're in Miami. Where is Marvin? Throw him the flipping football. And guess what? When they threw him the ball and they got him involved, he took over that game in Miami and cooked Jalen Ramsey almost into retirement. Like, do that more. At the end of the day, it's a Drew Petzing volume issue. And if I'm Monti Ossenfort and I invest a 4th overall pick in a generational talent, I don't want to see him be a decoy. Sacrificial X receiver, as our guy Harmon says from Yahoo Sports. So I would love a Keenan Allen signing for this show because it's fun. In the grand scheme of things, it probably means very little.
Look at this AZ Lardinals chiming in with a $1.99 super chat. Cardinals spelled with an L. Is Denzel Ward too much? Johnny Rizzler face, please.
I don't know if I can do it and keep.
No, he paid.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do it, but I'm gonna try to keep a straight face. Hang on.
Hold on. I'm just gonna make this easy.
Bo's not doing anything.
Did you do it?
No, he didn't do it.
Isn't that what he does? What about that? How was that? How was that? I'm more of a boom guy myself.
Big boom AJ.
Denzel Ward's probably going to cost you pick 47. You doing that? I don't think I'm doing that.
Where does he stack up as far as DB contracts? Still probably in the top 5, right?
Yeah, it's super high.
Dylan Harrison Lehman jumping in $5. Thank you, Dylan.
Oh, the White Marv is available.
JV Lion on air is crazy. White Marv is on the way to my house.
Dylan, I'm going to buy it. I promise I will buy it. Maybe I looked at youth sizes and the white wasn't available for youth and I got confused. Sorry. I'm going to buy, I have a white Kyler Murray jersey. I'll get a Marv jersey.
Yeah.
I almost tried to order
I want to get my kid a Marv jersey. I need he's got a red Kyler and a black Kyler. And I just need I want to get a Trey McBride one for him and a Marv jersey.
Can anyone confirm? Shields had always talked about, we were deep into the Marv jersey gate last summer, and Shields had told us that they were going to have an end cap dedicated to Marv. Has anybody been to Shields lately? Has anybody seen if they've upgraded? Probably not, because we're out of season right now. But I love Budda Baker and Kyler Murray, but it was like Budda, Kyler, Hollywood Brown. And it's like, give me Trey McBride and MHJ jerseys yesterday, please.
Yeah. T.O. JV, I can ask my grandparents to buy you one.
That'd be great. That'd be so great. Let me send you my address off air.
We do need to get Mr. Hold the Line. I think you and I need to pony up and get young Damon
how much stuff are we going to buy from Damon? We bought him and Shane super nice Super Bowl hats when they were dogging us.
They wiped their butts with it.
That was nice of you guys. But yeah, that would be a dream come true for your boy here. I might get emotional.
Which one would you want?
Maybe black.
You like the black one?
Darth Vader, Marv.
What if we did this, Damon? What if we repped Marv jerseys to our draft party this year?
Does it get any better than that?
People are asking about when can we announce our draft party. We know where it is. We know when we're having it.
Yeah.
That'll be the goal this week, is to be able to tell you guys what's going on with that. Sold out last year and like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this year we're going to have a line out the door. People trying to get their way in last minute. Hila having to say, hey, guys.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you feel like last year was nuts, this year, later pick.
Yeah.
Anticipation, people getting gross. I think that's what this is all about. Michael Wilson showing up, signing autographs, taking pics.
Ruby leaking some information. Draft parties at JV's grandparents' house.
Rest in peace. I got one living grandparent left. She does live at home.
Come on, don't be a Debbie Downer like that.
Boom, Eric.
Your kids' grandparents.
Take that, Ruby.
Listen, they all live good lives. My one grandfather who just passed away lived to 95. How about that? We could all be so lucky.
You're going to be doing this show until you're 95.
I'd sign up for that right now. Lifetime contract. Bo Brack. Eric Ruby just spamming our chat today. It's good to see Rube. Rubes, people are ready for you to rip Kevin Durant. I hope you're ready. Everybody in this podcast is like, we need this KD energy on the show later. I said, Eric, I told him you would do it.
Johnny,
I can't watch that trash anymore. That's
Johnny
trash.
had a hot take, some heat, talking some KD earlier in the show. Go check it out.
Sorry.
And just say it verbatim on your next Sun show.
Clip it. You have our permission to clip it.
Yeah, they got a game tonight.
Can't wait. Can't wait to watch that juggernaut. Just a bunch of guys who just chip in, give it all they got for all the kids.
Johnny on the phone with his parents, his kids' grandparents. Do you want us to get any Suns jerseys? KD, Beal? Yeah, no thanks.
I will agree with the people. Like, everything should be on the table. I'm sorry. You guys want to know how to do a rebuild right? Come to this show. This show will tell you how to do a rebuild right. It's called Get the Wrecking Ball, friends. Get the wrecking ball. The bulldozer's out. Beep. Can't half-ass the rebuild, Ishbia. That's right, Mike. Beep, beep. Backing up the truck. Smash. Oh, look out, Bradley Beal. Kevin Durant. People are asking, should they trade Devin Booker? Make him available. Just see what comes out there. Talk about purgatory. Let's see. Come on. Cleveland.
This guy knows hardwood, man.
Just hoop.
Yeah.
Cleveland, OKC. Build a team. Build a team the right way.
Yeah. How's that? You just want to just be in the draft in the top of the lottery for the next 5 to 10 years?
This is my preference, and I love Devin Booker. I'm not saying trade him. Get some young kids in here that want a ball. That I can go to the Footprint Center and be like, let these 20, 21, 22-year-olds. I don't care.
He hasn't dropped it already. Do you know who they need?
Who's the Cam Scattaboo of college basketball?
I couldn't tell you one NBA prospect. Couldn't tell you one.
I was getting the exact same vibe. Me and Bo both. You could see like a light bulb go off over the both of our heads at the exact same time. Johnny just speaking in the exact same way he talks about Cam Scattaboo.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, though, there is, and I'm being serious, no worse place than losing with old players. You want to lose with young players, get experience. What you're doing, what the Suns are doing now, not sustainable. You don't need this Jobo to tell you that, though.
Great hoop talk with Johnny Venerable.
What's your take on it, Bo?
I'm with you. Get rid of KD. Try to sell him to the highest bidder this offseason. Find somebody that's going to take on Bradley Beal. Get rid of the worst contract in pro sports, and then hopefully have enough time left, enough juice left in Book to build around him.
Sports Hero, I did want Bronny on the Suns last year so they could get LeBron James, a winner. We were very pro Bronny on this show last year. See that Bronny make that 3 the other night?
I did not.
How about Bryce?
He made it 3. And people were like,
in an NBA game in regulation?
Yeah, he made it 3, and they were like, was it like over? I couldn't remember over, but who was over? It was over like a notable player, but it was exaggerated.
Cut him. Whoever it was, cut him.
I don't know anything about basketball. All I know is the Suns were supposed to be good, and they are not good. They're
not.
It's tough.
It's tough.
Yep. Bryce James is a state champion. We just going to gloss over that? I mean, I feel like that's kind of the big news here. Arizona Wildcats.
Yes, Dylan was right. Silver Joker. That 3-point stroke from Bronny James. That's what we're missing here.
What do you think about that, Bo?
Unbelievable profile pick. Killer Rex, Bronny over Ryan Dunn and his 0 offense. All right, we've had enough. The fact that we're getting in the weeds as far as some Suns talk, we'll save that for the PHNX Suns crew.
They do it way better than us. Way better.
Live at 6:30, I think. Yeah.
This is the Suns pre-show here on PHNX Cardinals.
They're just going to play your Kevin Durant's a loser on their in and out of breaks tonight.
If he was a winner, you know what he would probably do? Win
some ball games.
Win some games. Hey, Kevin Durant, enjoy Houston.
He'll be in your DMs tonight.
I'd wear that as a badge of honor.
You're going to get quote tweeted because you don't have any Suns info out on the Twitter streets. He's just going to quote tweet one of your Cardinals takes with the clown, a ton of like 280 clown emojis.
Hey, Kevin Durant, enjoy Orlando. Give us a couple picks. See ya, bro. See ya, bro. I remember when that move happened. I'm like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
All that's left are ashes where a finals team used to be.
Drop a like on this video. Man, get an Asante Samuel signing, you think, this week, Bo Brack?
That'd be big. I'd love it. I mean, that's the next spot where I think you could find a legitimate upgrade on this roster. But otherwise, the heavy lifting's been done. First wave of free agency is done, and we're almost to the point where we're going to pivot back to draft talk. But the talk
tomorrow, we're talking D-backs.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into some.
We're getting into D-backs in segment 4.
We're gonna hit the diamond, and Johnny's gonna give some good takes there as well.
We're gonna give Johnny. We're just gonna give him the mic and just let him just rip some takes off.
Diamondbacks, they got winners. They got players with heart. Suns are just big contract fraud city. Not my town. Not my town, Bo.
Michael Evans, thank you guys. Thank you everybody out there. Your super chats. Thank you to everybody that was in the chat today. Going back and forth. Those who hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, PHNX_Cardinals. We appreciate you all, including the exclusive member Discord. Hopefully you took advantage like so many people did last week to get that low price of $36 because you can talk Cardinals all the time. Or if you're in the Suns, maybe Johnny's going to jump into the Suns Discord later and give some of those heat. He'll do a heat check as far as his
chased out in minutes.
Johnny, we've never suspended a guy who's actually on staff here at PHNX, but you're out of the Discord. Can't wait. Thank you to all 1,500 people watching live. Hit the like on this video. If you think the Cardinals need to get in on some of these free agents that we talked about earlier today, drop a comment here on the show. Otherwise, we'll talk to you, barring any breaking news, tomorrow on a Tuesday edition of here PHNX Cardinals. Talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.